Hello, and welcome to the Kosh. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and once again, it's a Saturday morning. It's gorgeous out. I'm excited about today. I don't know. I went and hit Menominee Park first thing this morning. Took Bosco, the podcast dog, for a walk, and it just felt right. You ever go outside and the breeze was just perfect and the weather was just right and there's no humidity, you're not sweating. It felt fantastic. So you know what that means to me? That just means that's going to transition into an amazing episode here on the Kosh, which makes me super excited. And you know what makes for an amazing episode? An amazing guest. And once again, I have another amazing guest. And so we're not going to waste a lot of time. We're going to jump in. And this week's guest is Karen Schneider. Hey, Karen.
Hey, Timber. No pressure there.
Oh, you like that, huh?
Oh, dear.
Oh, what do you mean? I mean, it's just the truth. It's just facts.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk to you. So.
All right. I appreciate you making time. I don't know. I have a feeling for a lot of reasons, we're going to get to cover some really amazing subject matter. And it's about the Kosh. And I feel like you might know a lot about the Kosh.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So.
All right. Well, fantastic. So we're going to jump in. And can you please share a little something about yourself and your connection to the Kosh?
So Oshkosh is my hometown. I grew up moving around Fond du Lac, Green Bay and stuff, but my family ended up here when I was in 6th grade, graduated from here, and this is home. I did move away for 25 years, but I've been back for 10, and I've been blessed. I moved back. I had one date when I moved back, ended up marrying him, and I have a very blessed life. So
one date.
Well, he was my only date when I moved back here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
introduced
impressive.
by friends and they were like, I have this guy, he just got divorced. I think you guys would have fun hanging out. And I don't think they thought we would get married or stick together, but we did, and it's been almost 10 years, married for 5. So
those are good friends. They must really, they had their finger on the pulse.
I love my friends. they set me up well. So
okay, that's pretty cool. And so you were away for 25 years. What was it like coming back? And what made you leave?
Okay. So I left. I sold my business. I had an insurance business out in Phoenix, and I sold that. And my kids, I have 2 adult children out there. I have my son, Philip, who is a chemical engineer.
Whoa.
And my daughter, who is some kind of scientist with Bristol Myers Squibb, who's been fortunate to go to Germany on training twice this summer already. I'm a little envious. Wow. But at the time, 10 years ago, I didn't think either of them were going to stay in Phoenix. My son was finishing up school, and he and all his friends were getting these offers to move up to the Dakotas for fracking and everything with these 6-digit signing bonuses and stuff. And
whoa!
It was, and fracking took a dive, right when they were graduating. So all of those job offers disappeared and stuff. And then my daughter was going to go into the service and changed her mind. So by the time they had made those decisions and those changes, I had already moved back here I shipped 3 boxes of clothes and whatever fit in the trunk of my car. And my girlfriend who introduced me to my husband, Jeff, and I did kind of a Thelma and Louise without dying and took a road trip from Phoenix back here. And, life is good. So
3 boxes of clothes only?
That's it. Yeah.
I couldn't put my shoes in 3 boxes.
So I left the rest back in Phoenix because I'm like, if I like it, I'll stay. If I won't, I'll move back. And now my daughter owns the house that she grew up in. So.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
But that's how I ended up back here. And I transferred actually with Chase Bank because I worked at Chase after I sold my agency trying to figure out what am I going to do. And I almost didn't come back because I'm a huge Coyotes fan. Not that I've watched them a lot in the 10 years I've been back here, but we had season tickets since they started out there, and they were in the playoffs. And
is that baseball?
That is hockey.
Oh,
That's
okay.
hockey. Yeah.
All right.
So, and if the Chicago Blackhawks had won Game 7, or hadn't won Game 7, and the Coyotes went to the Stanley Cup, I had tickets through that whole series, and there was no way in heck I was leaving. So there's a purpose out there, and the Blackhawks won, so it's like, oh, timetable stays. So, and here I am. So
was that divine intervention?
A lot of things in my life have been divine intervention. So
that is pretty awesome. What kind of insurance? Was there a property casualty focus, life, health?
I was an Allstate agent.
Okay.
So we had property and casualty in life and the financials. And I didn't like the financial aspect of it because I really have a hard time asking people for their money.
Ooh, I know about this life.
Okay.
I used to be an insurance agent.
Okay. And, and then Allstate they always change how you get paid, right? Because you're an independent contractor.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't really work for you, but you're telling me how many staff I have to have, and you keep changing how I make my living. So I think I'm kind of done with this. And I had a really good agency. I started it from scratch, and in 5 years, we were about $1.5 million in premium and stuff. So I was able to sell it for a decent amount, kind of broke even after all my investment and stuff. But right. I was one of the few agencies that had bilingual staff. Which was we're Phoenix, right? So that was a huge selling point there.
I would think that would be super important. I would almost think that would be not an option, but almost a requirement.
You would think. The only person who wasn't bilingual in my office was me. But you hire good people, and some of them are still with the agent that bought my agency 10 years later.
That's awesome.
And I'm still friends with so many of my clients that are back there, so that's always nice too.
I understand. Yeah. I worked for AAA.
Okay.
And it's very funny as I have when I transitioned out and I moved to other jobs, my clients were everywhere. Especially UW Oshkosh. I actually didn't even realize how many UW Oshkosh people I was insuring until I actually went to go work for UW Oshkosh. And I kept meeting more and more people that I was like, oh, hey, hi, how are you doing? And that was pretty awesome. That's a pretty awesome feel.
Yeah.
But
they have to trust you, right? You're insuring some of their biggest things that you should have that relationship, and not everything online, but online platforms, that's a whole nother subject. So
I 100% agree. Insurance is such a sensitive topic in a lot of ways, and I think the best way to go about being an insurance representative is you never sell it, you just present it. You present it according to whatever they've shared with you about their life, and make sure that they know what their options are to cover their families or their belongings or whatever it is. And I found that approach really worked well because I was never selling. I just told you, hey,
this is what you need to protect yourself.
This is what you need, or if and however that conversation went, and I think people really appreciated that there was a thoughtfulness to it.
Right. I so agree. I had a millionaire come in, and he owned his own business, he owned homes, and he comes in and he has minimum liability, right? So $15,000, $10,000. And we start talking about what happens if he gets in an accident. And he's like, well, I have this coverage. I'm like, how much is your truck worth? Yeah. I'm like, okay, so this is what's going to pay if you hit a truck that's valued at the same amount of yours. And it's like, these are really intelligent people, but insurance can be, it can be very confusing. What do you mean? This is what the law says I have to have. Why do I have to have more? Well, this is why. So it's an education process. And it as you said, it's presenting, this is the recommendation to protect you and your family. If you're shopping price, that's a different story. but are you looking to protect yourself? So,
right. I found that as I was in and things happened, right? Because claims come in and the real life things really happen. And I was able to share the narratives of things that happened to my clients or my fellow agents' clients, and those things, like, you don't think it could happen, but it totally can happen.
it does.
The wildest one that I had ever happen was there was a gentleman that came in and we were talking about it, and he had assets, and so I was like, hey, you ever think about an umbrella policy? And he was, oh no, I don't need that, right? Not even 2 to 3 weeks later, he had a tent in his front yard. I forgot what he was doing with it, if it was like a rummage sale or something. A wind gust came, picked up the tent, and hit somebody in the head and killed him.
Oh my goodness.
Right. The wildest scenario.
Right? You could never,
ever
oh my gosh,
expect. Right. Like, literally, wind gust picks up big tent, big heavy tent, boom, leg flies, boom. Right. And so then that conversation about that umbrella policy looked different.
Sure does.
And they popped in. And that's where I'm going to leave the story.
Yeah, because that's a little late.
Yeah. So that was one of those things. Okay. We went down a path.
It was not planned.
None of these conversations, parts of these convos ever are. We just go there. All right. So we're going to jump into the first segment. And the first segment is what in the world is going on with. That's where you start with the phrase, what in the world is going on with, and you tell us what's on your mind.
All right. So mine for this week is what in the world is going on with overbooked flights on the airlines and canceled flights.
Facts.
So last weekend was 4th of July weekend. My family and I were supposed to go to Savannah. We had gotten great tickets for under $100 round trip. Just checked in Thursday night. Within 5 minutes, we got a notice that our flight had been canceled. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What is this now? And then you find out that there's thousands and thousands of them that are canceled. And I get it for weather, and I get it for mechanical issues. And I even get it for when a crew has to quarantine because of COVID. But come on, airlines, stop selling out 10 flights when you know you're only going to be able to do 6. Now, no one offered me $10,000 like there's a news report out there that they did. But
I saw that.
Yeah, but we did. And actually, this is the first flight I've ever had canceled on me. And we pivoted quickly, and we did a road trip, and we went to Niagara Falls. So 1,542 miles later, we came back from our 72-hour trip. But then you're talking about these thousands of flights that are canceled, and people can't pivot.
Right.
They have a wedding to get to, or graduation, or God forbid, a funeral, and they're stuck in these airports. And it really comes back to the root of the problem is this overbooking. And why are you overbooking? And please don't tell me you overbooked 20% because 20% of people are not going to show up. Because I call BS on that. That's just not happening. So what is it, airlines? Why are you doing this to people?
All I've heard through multiple places, whether it's social media or news or whatever, that is just a hot mess right now trying to fly. And so they say, if you don't have to, don't do it. And I'm going to take that advice.
7 hours. That's what I read on one thing. One article that a flight attendant had said, if it's a 7-hour drive or less, don't fly. But some cases, you have to get there fast, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was interesting. It was interesting because we've never had that happen to us. A couple weeks ago, we went to Vegas, flew there, flew back, no problem.
Ooh, how was Vegas?
Well, so I'm not a big Vegas person, but we went because my husband took our Riley, my stepdaughter, to a Slipknot concert. So that's why we were out in Vegas. But then we did Hoover Dam, and we drove I think we like vehicles or something. We drove another 5 hours to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. You know, I've never heard that before on your podcast. I've had it twice now. I think this is not good. But I've never seen the north rim of the Grand Canyon in all the time I lived out in Phoenix. So it was very nice to go and take a look there. And, you know, it's a little bit of a different view and it's not as touristy. So that was kind of nice. But I will say we spent a couple hours walking up and down Fremont Street before we head back to the airport. But my point originally was that when we came home, the next day, I'm reading all these reports of these thousands and thousands of flights canceled. And we just kind of looked at each other and like, we had no clue. We had absolutely no clue. We didn't, you know, witness it in the airport at Vegas or anything. So it was kind of like, where's this happening? So, but that's, you know, if you have 1,000 flights canceled and you have 400 people per flight, that's a lot of people struggling to get to their destination.
That's a lot of misplacement.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think I'm a fly right now. I'm a pass. Well, I ain't got nowhere. I don't got the time to go, and I ain't got nowhere I got to go that bad.
Well, I'm really hoping that they figure out this hot mess because we're flying again in October. So I really hope they figure it out.
You're right back at it.
We're right back at it. We'll roll the dice. We're risk takers. What can I say?
Hey, I like it. I like it. Yes. All right. My what in the world is going on with Stranger Things?
I just finished it this last night, actually. So,
yeah.
Have you finished it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can look. Bruh. We will not spoil anything for anybody. But here's what I will spoil, because this has to be spoiled. Is I found out, and I did what all red-blooded Americans do. I Googled it, and it said like the next season doesn't come out for a year. It's frustrating to me because I love Stranger Things. Shout out to all the other fellow Stranger Things fans. But what drives me crazy is they already took a long time to come back, right?
Yes, they did.
So
and those kids look way different.
Well,
already,
they grown.
So yes,
them folk, they grown.
They do. Those teenagers grow. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, another year? I gotta wait a whole another year. And let's be honest, episode 9, the last one they just stopped with that they released, is so good.
It is very good.
And so I need y'all to do a better job bringing this back quicker, because you already made us wait, like, wasn't it like 2 years in between 3 and 4?
It does seem like a long time. Yeah.
Right? Because I almost feel it was pre-COVID, like when it ended. Because I don't think Stranger Things, I don't remember binging it over COVID. I think it was pre-COVID. And then basically, and I don't want to say COVID's over because it's not, but let's just say post-COVID in the sense of the heightened parts of COVID, right? So that's 2 years.
Right.
So we already had a 2-year gap.
You know, there is an Oshkosh connection that maybe we could call her and see if they couldn't speed that up.
Oh, do we got an Oshkosh hookup?
Well, do you know Jamie Seaman when she was at UWO?
Yes, actually I do know.
Okay, so Jamie is over at Chapman University,
right.
And the two guys, their names are escaping me right now, are Chapman University alum.
Oh,
and she actually just gave him a shout out on her social media pages a couple days ago after she finished watching it too. So hey Jamie, if you're listening to this, give him a little nudge and move things along. So
bruh. Yes, let's go on and make that happen. Jamie, go on and poke him. Tell him, I could do 6 months. I'll even settle for 9 months, but a whole nother year. Come on.
Well, and there's a few other ones that always seem to take so long between seasons too. So like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel seems to take a long time between seasons.
Is that one? Well, you know what? We're going to have an opportunity to cover that, but that keeps coming up. People keep bringing that show up.
It is good.
Okay. I gotta learn more about it. You know what? I'm looking for something new to binge, but we can cover that. Which takes us into word associations. All right, this is your opportunity. I'm going to say a word, and you tell me what comes to your mind. So we always like to start off with the one common denominator for all humans, food.
All right, food for me, the first thing if someone says something is tuna casserole. That's my comfort food.
Yeah.
I could eat that every single day of my life. So,
Ooh.
which is strange because most people go pizza, right? But for me, it's tuna casserole.
All right. I got questions.
Okay.
All right. So tuna casserole, because I do think tuna casserole, like there's good tuna casserole, and then there's like, it's okay tuna casserole. What makes tuna casserole special for you? What does your perfect tuna casserole have in it? Because the minute you say casserole to me is like saying stew or chili. Anything can go in a casserole. So.
All right, so mine's really basic. You have your egg noodles, your cream of mushroom soup, a little bit of milk, lots of butter, and of course tuna. So it's simple. Put it together. I don't know, but it's just that thing that if I whatever space my head's in and I need something, I'm gonna go and make tuna noodle casserole.
Tuna noodle casserole.
It's good cold too, just like pizza.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. Actually, I think I prefer mine cold.
So there's a tuna macaroni salad you can make with elbow macaroni. That one's usually cold, but tuna casserole, some people put breadcrumbs on it. Some people throw peas in it. Do whatever you want, but if it gives you comfort, just eat it.
Just eat it, huh? All right. That's fantastic.
Butter has no calories when you're eating it for that reason either. I'm just saying.
Did you see the look that I had? I was like, really? Is this a scientific thing?
Just saying.
All right. Is this the go-to that you bring to all family gatherings? That if you're charged with bringing a dish to the party, do you bring tuna casserole?
Oh no, that's a private thing. Yeah.
Oh no, this is personal.
Yeah, I force my family to eat it every now and then at home, but yeah, I don't take that to a potluck or anything.
Right.
I'm not really a cook or a baker or anything, so if I have to take something, I'll most likely order it, but don't tell people. So.
Oh, we won't. Well, your secret is safe with the Kosh listeners. Cocktail or beer?
I am a beer girl. I am Bud Light, water, and black coffee.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm as boring as they come. Yeah. So.
All right. I don't know. Is there?
I'll have my glass of wine every now and then, and a Southern Comfort Old Fashioned with olives. But yeah, typically my go-to, it's a Bud Light.
Okay. Is it the coffee? Is it like just? Is it basic coffee? Is it bougie coffee? Is it, a Starbucky coffee? Is it Folgers? That's my judgment in coffee. It ranges from Folgers to Starbucks.
I am not a coffee snob. And, you can go, I probably have whatever generic coffee probably Food Club from Piggly Wiggly right now this morning. Oh. So I'm not a coffee snob at all. So as long as it's hot, I'm good.
You're about it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right. Streaming.
So we have a few going on. So we have Netflix and Amazon Prime. So Netflix, right now I'm streaming Lincoln Lawyer with my husband. So we watch it in the evenings, and I've been watching Stranger Things that I do, when I'm getting ready in the morning or whatever, when I'm by myself. We also watch Amazon. I watch Amazon Prime, I should say, and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is on there. So there's a few out there. I just started watching Loot, which is on Apple Plus.
Bruh. I just started watching Loot too, and that is hilarious.
It is good. She's fantastic. But I'm going to tell you, we also bought, you always hear about how much all these programs are and cable and stuff. And we bought this little device called a super box that is awesome. We haven't cut the cord yet, but we're really, really close to it. On the cable. So this little super box costs like $300, right? And you hook it up and people are like, my sister's boyfriend calls it a mafia box because he's like, this cannot be legal. Walmart sells it, so it's got to be legal, right? but you stream and you can get movies that are still in the theater. You can get all your NFL games, all your baseball games. You can watch the NBC News over in Pittsburgh. I mean, it just has all this stuff. And in fact, I just watched the Giannis documentary Rise or movie, which is a fantastic show. I learned so much about him. I had no clue.
Oh.
And that was all on the Superbox because we don't have Hulu or Disney Plus or whatever when it's running on. So great investment. But whatever you want to watch, you can watch it. I could tell you an embarrassing little segment that we had when my kids were visiting, but we'll skip that because it was kind of like, oh, what kind of movie did you watch at the outdoor theater when you were in high school? And I'm like, oh, what about Porky's? And it came on, and it starts. I'm like, oh, I don't remember Porky's being like this. Whoa,
yes,
so
they used to make those movies.
Yeah, great. I have a new daughter-in-law. They've been married for about a year, and she's just looking at me like, this is what you picked, huh? Yeah, what can I say? So
that is hilarious.
But so, streaming platforms and the Superbox keeps us entertained. So
okay. I haven't heard about the Superbox, but now I am fascinated.
It is worth checking out.
I'm going to have to look into this. All right, Superbox it is. All right. Kosh listeners, ask me about the Superbox later on because you already know that the techie in me, like I'm starting to sweat. Like I feel like I need to jump online and order one because I'm totally that guy. Shop local.
Our downtown. So, we're a local. I work for a local newspaper, so local is what we're all about. But I very, very seldom shop outside of that. Piggly Wiggly's our go-to grocery store. Main Street, Brinkley's Boutique, Kits and File. We really shop the small mom and pop places around here because one, you can't beat the service, and you're gonna miss them when they're gone.
Right.
You can go on to this, you're from Oshkosh thing. Remember this, remember that? Well, when's the last time you went and did business with them?
Right.
That gets under my skin. But when is the last time you went and did business with them?
Bruh.
Another one is Hergert's. We go to Hergert's for tubes and Stormy Cromer stuff. And, we go there and people are like, oh, I used to go there all the time when I was a kid. Well, why did you stop? Well, because, you go to this big box store, right? Well, Hergert's is it's a family owned business. They're supporting families here and, they're employing people and granted the big box stores do too, but hey, let's give a little love to these local small businesses because that is the foundation of our community. These people do so much. And I'll go on a little tangent here too. So many people don't give credit or don't realize the contributions and fundraising that so many of our little bars do.
Oh my God, yes. That's why I call them churches. Yeah. No, I really do believe that they do a better job sometimes than some of the religious places, congregations, as far as supporting their congregation.
Yes.
Like if you are a regular at a local drinking establishment, like they know when you're missing and someone's going to go look for you. And if something goes wrong in your family, they're going to fundraise for you.
Exactly.
And they're going to take care of you. They become your bar or church family. That's why I call them churches.
Yes. And it's incredible. Yeah. So you can go and have a soda there and still do business with them there. Most of them have the best burgers around to begin with as well, but those places are just incredible in weaving the fabric of community, as you say, and the ability to raise money to help people out. It's a heck of a lot better than a GoFundMe page. So
facts. And since you mentioned it, and I got to, because, that's you mentioned one of my wife's go-tos is Mark and Sue's Piggly Wiggly. Look, we got mad love for them.
they are the best people. So.
And you know what amazes me about him? A, he's always there.
Yes.
B, he knows everyone that's walking through that place, basically, and will take the time to ask you, how's everything going? Was anything missing? Can I special order anything for you? Like my wife is all about the special order of salsa soda. And he will order her like 10 cases and calls her. And it's just like, where do you get service like that?
Yeah, it's rare.
It's rare.
It's very rare. In fact, Mark, at Christmas time, he was showing me Charles Woodson has a new bourbon out, right? And Charles Woodson just got into the Hall of Fame, the Packer Hall of Fame, Packer Hall of Fame, either one. Anyway, for Christmas, what are we going to do? So we got the little medallions from the Hall of Fame, and he brought in cases of the bourbon for us so we could kind of group this Woodson gift for all the guys in the family and stuff. And, and he's like, yeah, that's kind of cool, so, but they're great people. And their daughter Jenny works for us for the Neenah News, our other newspaper that we just launched in Neenah. So Jenny's been working for us too. And she's got the work ethic of her parents, and it's just fantastic. So I love them to death. They're just fantastic people.
Facts. Got to shout them out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Diversity.
We need more. As I was in Phoenix for 25 years. So, you come to Oshkosh and it's kind of like, where are the people? So we need more. We need to be more opening and inclusive. I will say that one of the things, and I don't know what's going on, but one of the things that causes me worry is, so the city of Oshkosh has a new DEI committee, right?
Yeah, I was initially on it.
Okay, so why are people saying I was initially on it and no longer on it? Yeah, there's what I will say is, at the time I stayed on it for the first year, and then I took on my new role. Okay. And part of that is I didn't want to, when you do DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion work, you already eat, breathe, and sleep it. It's so personal. It never shuts off. And you constantly have an incoming stream of people with questions and needs and resources. And it becomes a lot. There's another reason why also I decided to move forward, that I'm just going to wish that committee the best, and continued growth in the things that they're doing. I've heard rumblings of some pretty good things that may be coming in the future, that I'm excited about. And more importantly, I'm even more excited that they decided to start working with Alonzo Kelly, who I think regionally is one of our best DEI practitioners out there, doing the work. Actually, he's national, but we're lucky enough to have him in Northeast Wisconsin. He doesn't live in Oshkosh, but there was a time he used to live in Oshkosh. And he's just really, really good at what he does. And a lot of the businesses have hired him to come in or put him on retainer to come and do the work. So, and that's what I'll say. I think, like any new committee, sometimes, and you're trying to find the right mix of individuals, and there wasn't a clear set of direction. And everybody might have had their own idea of what they thought should be done. And it's so new for Oshkosh, right? I think a bit of it, to me, this is just my personal feeling, was like herding cats. Okay. I can relate to that, because, everyone in Oshkosh was looking for it to be a more welcoming, diverse community.
Right.
When you're watching a council meeting and you're hearing that they couldn't have their last two meetings because they didn't have a quorum, that should give you pause.
Yeah.
And I understand when you start something, a lot of people have different ideas, and herding cats is a great comment, but at the same time, you're saying Alonzo Kelly's here and he's on retainer to do the work. Let's remember that those companies that have him on retainer, those people in that company have to do the work too.
Yes.
He cannot do it himself.
Oh no, he does. He is a guiding force.
Yeah. And I like how you had said on one of your other podcasts when you were talking about, it's not, a lot of people want to get from the start line to the finish line just like that, and nothing can be accomplished that way. It's a small bites at a time, and we have to celebrate those small bites that are successful without condemning the people that are making those successes.
Yes. My personal feeling is I don't think a council being facilitated by the city was the right place to start. I think the right place to start this journey for Oshkosh is through diverse nonprofits who have demographic focuses, whether they're race-centric or organizations or organizations that focus on different demographics, whatever they are. I think you have to fundamentally have those built first, and then through working through those organizations and that outreach within the community and having a better understanding and pulse, a better understanding of what the pulse of the community is, then you go into facilitating through a committee through the city. But to just create a city committee to do it, I don't know if that was the right way. And I say this coming from my observations of Appleton.
Fair.
And Appleton, what's Appleton's approach has been from my point of view and where they're at currently. And you know what Appleton doesn't have? A city-led diversity council. But they have multiple different organizations that have focuses, and then those organizations partner with each other, and then those organizations partner with the private sector, and all of that comes together to actually move the culture.
Sounds like a good blueprint that their neighbors could follow.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I didn't know before I knew. I didn't know before I started doing what I do currently. So I'm not acting as if like I always had that answer. Mm-hmm. I have learned that answer over the course of the last year. And so I do think there is a great opportunity for us to do something similar. But then again, Oshkosh is very different.
It is. Every city in the Fox Valley has its own personality.
Very much so.
Yes. I've worked in Appleton and Green Bay and Fond du Lac and Oshkosh, and they all have, it's like children. They all have their own personalities.
Right.
And, which one's going to go on to be the CEO and which one is going to be couch surfing for the rest of their life.
That was relevant. I like that. Couch surfer, professional. So,
yeah. I'll tell you. So back in the 90s, when the market crashed out in Phoenix, we moved back here for a couple of years, and my kids were smaller, and they were going to Peace Lutheran for preschool. So, so we come in, and we've been back for a while and stuff, and this is out of the mouths of babes, right? Because you're doing your thing and you're just going on, and it seems like it's normal. So we're walking in to preschool one day, and a woman of color comes out, and my son goes, "Mama, there's a brown woman. Where are they all?" And I'm just like, I'm looking at her, and I'm like 10 shades of red, right? And she's like, it's all right. But, that's that's what they were. That was the norm for them in Phoenix, and you don't realize that at 4 years old they're noticing it's not the same here.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of those moments. As you know, it's 29 years ago, but it's like it's just burned in your brain that we need more diversity in Oshkosh. And it's getting there slowly from 29 years ago.
Well, I think there's been overwhelming change.
Oh.
I think it's amazing. And I've lived here 30. And, there was a time, I can't go anywhere now and not see other people of color driving, walking, shopping, working, any of those things. And I can remember 30 years ago, I didn't see any of that.
I wonder if she was dropping you off at Peace Lutheran. You'd been about the same age.
So I do think we've come a long way. But I do think now that the demographic has really shifted, because I mean, you can't put the jack back in the box, and it's something we've got to address and face and understand. Like, the goal is to just make a welcoming city.
Yes.
That's it. It's not that deep. It's just like, hey, and what welcoming means is, like, we do have to take into consideration the difference of individuals, whatever that means, whatever that looks like, whatever those demographics are. And I'm not just talking race or culture. I'm talking all sorts of things, right? I do think that instead of the council, and I'm not trying to say the council should not exist. It's there. I'm cheering them on so hard. You have no idea. But I do think it wouldn't be bad for the city to have someone in a role similar to mine, where they go out and they help facilitate some of the things that they want to occur. And it's really about relationships, and helping to serve as a connector in the community, whatever that means, right? Mm-hmm. To the resources. We have this amazing university that has a great diversity focus. There should be a connection there, and connecting them to the different things. We have many big businesses that have an understanding of the business argument for diversity, the whole point of why it's so important to both expanding their talent for ideas, to increase the bottom line, all of those things. There should be connections there and conversations there. And then there should be conversations with the actual community members that we have here and that we want to keep, because they add a lot to our community. And so, like, I think there's an opportunity there, like somewhere where someone, that's their focus.
I would agree. It is amazing on how many different levels, just not diversity, that there will be a group of people who think they know what needs to be done when they're not even part of that group or demographic.
Yeah.
And that does have to change. We need to, it's simple. I worked for the hub for a year, and it's amazing because it's like you sort of have to ask the people, what do you need? What would you like to see?
Right. And to have somebody out there that actually does that, that's really, it's an important thing to do. And also to remind us all, and then I think we'll go to the next thing, that when we're talking about diversity, that means you too. Everybody is diversity. A lot of people don't think like that, and they make it an othering thing. They're like, why do we need to? Well, the same reason we needed to for you. Diversity is short people and tall people, and the way people think is diversity. And it's not just race or culture. It's your lifestyle. It's your religion. It's what you eat, your preferences, your culture of what you do, even if you think you share cultures with your neighbor. It is all the things, and it's an identity, and that's diversity. And the sooner we all realize like that, when we say this word, it's not a dividing word, it's an inclusive word, and it means all of us. The sooner we can actually do the things we think we should be doing. Just my 2 cents.
It's worth more.
Community.
So, it's really my tribe, my community. So there's so many things like you were just talking about, right? It's your family, it's your workplace. Oshkosh is my community. We've just kind of crept into Neenah, and I'm learning about that community. But for me, my community, it is my tribe. It's my family. It's my teams at work. It's my extended family. But wherever you go, each community, you're kind of a cell in so many different atoms, right? So you have all these different communities that you're a part of, and you have to open your eyes on what each of those needs. Oshkosh, said this before, I was gone for 25 years and been back. And the one thing that drives me absolutely crazy is listening to people that have never left Oshkosh just shoot it down. And you have no idea, if you go away and come back, or if you just move here from a different place, you're like, this is golden. The things that Oshkosh has is just golden, and that's the community as a whole. And do we have issues? Absolutely. Every place has issues, but Oshkosh is just, people walk down the street and hey, they make eye contact. Okay.
True.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend out in Phoenix who would say, Karen, don't make eye contact. It's like, well, why? Well, you're going to talk to people. Well, of course I'm going to talk to people. My husband says the same thing, so,
I love it,
but they make eye contact. They shake your hand. They hold the doors open, and it's the little things, but yet it's the big things as well, of what people will do to try to make a difference. There's in Oshkosh, there's a certain level of community that invests greatly in things that happen, and they take a beating from the public, but they're doing it for the betterment of Oshkosh.
Right.
And then there's the people on the front lines who are doing incredible work. And their community, it's just, I'm rambling here, but it's like every single person I would just wish they would step back and Stranger Things, go to the upside down world for a day, right?
Right.
And see what it's like living in a different community and how the people are and stuff.
Right.
And then come back and have a new appreciation for what we have.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe be a little more positive in making the changes that we do need to have made here in Oshkosh.
Or being positive about the change that's happened.
Yes.
Like, it's not as bad as you in your mind think it is. It's just not. We're not even close.
Nowhere close to it.
Right.
And, we definitely have our issues, but we're not isolated. They're happening everywhere.
Right.
So if it was just happening here, that would be a different thing, but it's not. And yes.
I'm with that.
So.
All right. So before we go on to the next segment, we are going to take a quick break here.
Hi, I'm Dawn Gulke, the Executive Director of Casa of the Fox Cities. Science proves that one consistent adult can change the story of a child. Could that one person be you? Become a court-appointed special advocate. Build a relationship with a child, help identify their needs, and give that child a voice in a process that can otherwise feel lonely. Contact us today. Children who have experienced abuse and neglect can't wait. Learn more about Casa of the Fox Cities at casafc.org or call Leah at 920-257-4733.
All right. as you know, Kosh listeners, due to the fact that it's my first and only commercial, I am super proud of that every time we play it.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
All right. So we're going to sneak in another segment this week, and this might be a keeper segment because, I've been asking Kosh listeners for every episode. I'm always like, hey, call in, send us an email, let us know. And there's one person who consistently always sends me like questions. She's like, I got questions for Ask the Kosh or whatever it is. And so we were going to have a segment called Ask the Kosh, but we might just have to call this segment Questions by Nicole. Because Nicole consistently always comes up with these questions and they're good. So she actually sent me 3 and I picked the one that I just thought was really cool because I think this one is going to take us down a path.
Okay.
All right. What brings you joy?
Oh, that's deep.
Right? When she sent it, I gave me pause. I was like, oh, okay. I don't even know how to I don't know.
Okay. So outside the norm of my family, and this is going to sound so selfish, but every week I open my mailbox and something that my team created is there to welcome me. And every week it's like a little rush and it brings me joy because we accomplished something.
And what is that little something that your team that you?
So I'm the publisher and owner of the Oshkosh Herald, which is in our 5th year. And there's over 31,500 people opening their mailbox and seeing that masthead when they pull it out. So yes. I'm very proud of that and the team that is out there doing that. And we just rolled out one in Neenah as well called the Neenah News. And we did that because we had so many people from that community saying, hey, when are you going to come to Neenah? We get it from everywhere, Fond du Lac everywhere, but Neenah made sense for us because it's Winnebago County. So even though they may not think they're in Winnebago County and they don't relate to it, they are in Winnebago County. So by being able to share content and news about Winnebago County, it helps that. But it's also a very unique and interesting community that we're learning about. And we've made a few mistakes because we didn't grow up there. So we misidentify a parade event or something like that. But we've been there for 5 months and the welcome has just been phenomenal. So, that too, when you look at that and you hear someone say, email you or they give you a call and just say, thank you. We needed this. I had no idea what was going on. It's a great feeling of joy, of accomplishment of, our whole mission is to have a more informed community so that we make those decisions we've been talking about moving forward. And I believe the Oshkosh Herald helps do that.
I do too. I'm not going to lie. I really I like the Oshkosh Herald. It's my porch time. You know what it is? It's my porch and tea time. When I want to sit on the porch in the sun and drink tea and I pull out the Herald and it just tells me what's going on. It just does a really, really good job of that. So,
and that's what it's supposed to do. So
it brings me joy.
That makes me happy.
Okay. Next segment. Kosh Hidden Gems. This is your opportunity to share a gem that you think, or something that you think is a gem here in the community. It could be anything, and it could be something everybody knows, but maybe they don't know a part of it, or maybe it's something no one knows. What do you got?
So hidden gems in Oshkosh are, we already talked about Mark and Susie's Piggly Wiggly.
Facts.
That's their, the Delta restaurant. Ever and Trish over there are phenomenal. And if you want to feel like your family at a restaurant, that's where you go. There's a few places that we always end up going to that maybe more well known, but like West End Pizza.
Oh.
And a little plug here: you walk into their lobby, and they have all these framed City Pick winner and finalist emblems up on their wall. That's the best of annual contest that the Herald runs. Mm. And again, something that makes you joy is when you go around town and you see all these emblems, and it's like, that's us. That's really cool. The Asylum Bay Park over there off of County Road A is gorgeous. I live out that way, so it's always nice. And there's just so many. There's the Weewash, there's Terrell Island, and people know about them. But another little place is called Northside Bar and Grill. It's out there on Algoma. It's changed names a few times, but there's a sister who owns that, and then the brother owns Pizza at 44.
Okay.
Both, talk about local success stories. They grew up in different circumstances, and they're both business owners now, and they both do so much for the community, but their food is good. So those two little gems as well. Let's see. And so you said Brinkley's, and I think that's kind of it.
All right.
I'm sure I could come up with more.
Oh,
but
I feel you. I want to refer back to what I started at the beginning of this episode and said, I've got somebody that knows the Kosh, and this is going to be a fire episode.
I throw out their Osh Pop as well. If you haven't had their Door County cherry popcorn, you're missing something. So, good stuff.
I've had some of their popcorn, and it's fantastic. No ifs, ands, buts.
It amazes me the popularity of popcorn.
Oh no, I understand it.
And it's like the flavors of popcorn are equivalent almost to Wagner's brats, right? How many flavors can you come up with? But very creative, and it's a dessert. It's delectable.
Let me tell you the secret to popcorn, and I know this. My parents used to own an ice cream truck that had a cotton candy machine and a popcorn machine. And the power of popcorn is the smell. And we could drive through neighborhoods and pop a fresh batch of popcorn, and people would pop their heads out the door because they needed to know. And you wouldn't believe how many people would come buy popcorn. The good old fashioned box of popcorn. You know what the secret is?
The smell.
The smell and coconut oil.
Oh,
you pop it in coconut oil, it has a sweeter flavor.
Ah,
all right.
I just gave try that now.
I just gave up the goods, y'all. That is how they get you on the popcorn trucks.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to try that coconut oil.
Yes, it does. It makes a flavor difference in there.
Now that just made it sound like I actually pop popcorn at home instead of throwing a bag in the microwave. I'll have to try that.
Bruh. I'm not gonna lie, I throw the bag in the microwave too right now. But if every once in a while, it might be some, it might get popped the old school way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's the Kosh need?
Oh, so I'm gonna go with the Kosh has a lot of great things. We still need more and better collaboration, I believe. But it also, a couple more restaurants. I know people aren't going to agree with me there, but the waits at restaurants can be really long. So another nice supper club would be nice. A bookstore. I know that's a popular one, but a bookstore would be nice. I haven't tried the new Mexican restaurant yet, so I'm not going to go and say it needs a really good Mexican restaurant yet, because we do have some good ones, but I want to bring Popo's from Phoenix out here. I'm not sure that's possible. But a lot of it's collaboration. And how can I say this? I would like to see what Oshkosh needs is more of its residents to take more initiative in learning about their community.
Oh, I like that.
So I should have led with that.
I think it's really easy to just live the day to day and not engage and immerse.
And I would agree with that. And I'm going to use Ralph Harrison as an example here because I love Ralph. He's great. He's a huge community advocate. He's involved everywhere.
Yeah, he is.
Now he's on the county board, right? He's a supervisor. And I follow him and he's like, this is what we're doing and stuff. But which is fantastic because he's educating people. But at the same time, we have to be careful not to pass judgment because Ralph is retired and has the time to do this now. So,
correct.
Being able to package that information, like a newspaper, and give it to people so that they can get it in quick bites and not have to spend 3 hours watching a county board meeting to know what's going on.
Yes.
So a lot of that, and that's really what I'm talking about too, is people. Oshkosh is not a news desert by any means. So there are so many opportunities to find out what's going on and what process it's going through. But it is going to take effort and it does take a little bit of time. But it doesn't mean that you have to watch 12 hours of government meetings to know what's going on.
I agreed. There's ways.
There's definitely ways.
And I do think, like anything, it's the willingness to prioritize. You've got to prioritize that engagement. Like, it doesn't have to be a ton of time. It just has to be some time.
Correct. Like your time with tea and a newspaper. Yes, you have to. You do. It is a conscious effort.
Yes. To
be informed and take that time.
Right. I really do think that's what it is. Otherwise, it's you either control your time or your time controls you, and so it's one of those things. So I'm a firm believer. People make time for the things that they feel are important, and so it's a prioritization thing from my point of view.
True.
Okay.
Maybe we just need to make what's going on in our community more important.
I do think, and sometimes from conversations that I've had with individuals, sometimes people just don't even know how or where to look, and it's just true. I get it. Yep. If you are not, let's say a local, born and raised, and are familiar with the how things work and where the resources are, where the information is shared, and all that, you could easily go a long time and not know how to engage.
True. And it's interesting because I had mentioned I worked for the Hub before I started the Herald. And the Hub is a collaboration, or was a collaboration, of nonprofits that were working to help people reach self-sufficiency, right? And there's a lot of chiefs at that table. And when I was getting ready to launch the Herald, they're talking about all these different programs, and I'm learning about all these different programs. And I'm like, well, how do people find out about it?
Right.
They have to go to my website. How do people know
about your website?
Exactly. So talking about consuming, being time consuming, to find out about what's going on by having to go to each individual's website is impossible. You can't do that. And that's where we look, the Herald looks to kind of fill that community void as well, is, having those organizations and those businesses send us what they're doing, and we'll share it. We'll publish it so that you're reaching, 50,000 people in Oshkosh. And that's what it's changing, that thought process on people too. What's on my website? Well, you can go pull it from your web, and I've been told this, you can go pull it from our website. Hello.
Yeah.
How do I know when I'm supposed to be looking at your website? If you're going to post it, just email it to us, send it to submit@oshkoshherald.com. We can help you get the word out. But talking about time and knowing, we don't know that, nor do we have the bandwidth to go and check on everybody's websites or Facebook pages what's going on. So, hey, let us help you. But it's a collaboration and it's a partnership. It's a relationship building. You send it to us. We'll let people know what you have going on. We'll let them know about this program that they can apply for rent assistance, or, over here for a business grant, or, let us know, and we'll help. We'll help you help them by getting the word out. Because I don't know anyone who can go to every single website to find out what's going on.
No.
Plus, you have to figure out where you're supposed to go on that website to get that information.
That's even harder.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because all websites are not easy to navigate. All the stuff is not easy to find. It just is what it is.
Right.
Well, that is good. Kosh listeners, I hope you heard that. So if you have things going on, let's get it to the Herald and make sure that they're able to share whatever you want shared out to the community. I think that's super important. I'm hoping that there's a share about this particular episode, because I think it'll be important. I think people will want to hear. So, the Naughty/Heroes Corner. This is your opportunity to nominate somebody to the Naughty/Heroes. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be a thing. It could be an organization. It could be whatever you want. What do you have?
All right. So first, I'm going to do the naughty. Okay.
Wait. That is fantastic. No one picks naughty.
Well, and this is... so we're talking about how we get news out there, right? So it's a big responsibility. So the naughty person, I'm going to point the finger at me right now, is because recently, and there've been a few things, but recently we had news on something and we confirmed it and we printed it to find out afterwards that it wasn't correct. And it affects people. And, that just, you don't want, if someone is having something that's really phenomenal happen in their life, you want them to be able to celebrate it. Right. You don't want to put a rain cloud or a huge thunderstorm over it. And,
right.
And unfortunately, that has happened to us recently, and you can't apologize enough for it. And so it goes to not just our news organization, but every news organization. So when they say, verify, and verify again, that third one we didn't do. So the villain there is me. And there's been a few other things that we learn as we go on too. When we first started, we did a photo that we had permission to run by an organization, but the family did not understand that it was going to be in the newspaper.
Oh.
And they took a backlash from their community for, being prideful and so forth. So it's about those cultures and those communities that, you might make that mistake once and you regret it forever, but you will never make it again.
Right. So was the information that you published, was it incorrect or was it just untimely?
Both, I think, because there wasn't a time commitment listed in the information that I had originally received.
Got it. Okay. Understood. All right, I like it. That's really, really good.
So let's go to heroes.
Oh, we're doing
heroes too? Okay.
Yes. Hey, wait, but if we're gonna do heroes, if I gave it to naughty, I got to give it to heroes.
So this goes also. So my number one hero is my husband. Okay.
Why? What's cool about your husband? We're gonna take a moment. Your husband.
All right. So Jeff is one of the most kindest, humblest people I've ever met. And he is the reason that the Herald exists. He has faith.
All I can say is if you are here in the space in this where we're recording. There's so much energy here. You can feel this. This is so powerful. Yeah.
So to go on to my next hero, it's all the clerks that are out there with election season coming up.
Oh my God.
So we are going to wish them well and ask everybody to respect the big, huge job that they have going on come here with August and November. So they're heroes. They have a big, important job.
They are big, big heroes.
Oh, yes.
Because there's a whole lot of hot mess that might accompany that.
There is. And what they went through 2 years ago, even with elected officials, just pounding them on social media was just so uncalled for and unprofessional. And, you know, they put up, and that was out in the public. They're not there to take a beating. They are there to follow the laws, and it's going to be a hot mess. I don't think it's a maybe. Just the rhetoric that's already out there. Mm-hmm. So let's give them a little love. So,
yeah, I think somehow we forgot that they're our fellow man, and that much like you wouldn't want somebody to come in and bash your job or the job you're doing, that's their job. And let them do their job.
So hats off to them, because it's going to be a long 6 months. So,
woo,
bruh.
Facts. That is the facts. Okay. We've made it through.
Okay.
We are on to every time it makes me happy. I do not know why. But every single time, it is something about that. It is the topic of the week. And our topic of the week is always chosen by our guests. So this week's topic of the week, Karen, is...
The topic of the week is going to be consuming local news.
Ooh.
So...
I'm excited.
Okay. You know, we've been talking about being informed and knowing what's going on in your community and things like that. And Oshkosh is very, very fortunate on the number of news sources it has. So when I'm, you know, on social media and I see people going, well, I had no idea that was happening, or this was happening, and it's something that's been in the works for not maybe, you know, for months, but sometimes years, and there's coverage that is out there. In order to be informed, you do have to take the effort to be informed. You know, one is, you know, they're on Facebook talking about, I didn't know that, but yet for the last 3 weeks, the topic was everywhere on Facebook. Right. So, you know, part of it is being a responsible citizen too. But let's talk about Oshkosh and community news. Okay, so the majority of things that are going to impact your life are happening in your own backyard. So you need to know what's going on in your city or your town or your village, because that is really the foundation of where you're living. So we need, you know, where are we getting that? You know, where are you getting that news? And here we have this thing called Oshkosh Media, which, you know, is through the city of Oshkosh, which has incredible coverage. If you want to know what's going on, that can be time consuming because it has all of the committees and the council meetings and all of that. But it also has a program, a segment with Mark Roloff, the city manager, who tells you what's going on. You know, and that might take a half hour of your time a week, but you'll get a heads up of these are the things that are happening. You have the Oshkosh Herald, you have the Oshkosh Northwestern, you have the Oshkosh Examiner. And I don't know why it seems to be, but the Green Bay TV stations give a lot of time to what's going on in Oshkosh as well. So it's like, if you don't know what's going on in your community, please take a look and look in the mirror and tell yourself, how much time did I take to find out what was going on about that? Or did you just jump in a thread and you read this on Facebook, and so it's got to be gospel, right? Because if it's on Facebook, it has to be true.
Oh, you didn't know? That's a rule.
I
thought that was a rule.
So, but take a look and talk. And, if you have questions or looking to find out more about something, contact any of those sources that you have. Or if it's something with the city, write the council, call Mark Roloff's office and ask them for clarification or where you can get more information. But don't just sit back and let things happen to you. You have a voice. You can be, not everything is going to go the way you think it should, but that's a democracy, right? It's majority rules in a democracy. So, but at least know what's going on. So if you want to have a say, you can. And that goes right to voting. When people say, well, my vote's not going to make a difference. Hello, do you know how many elections are won and lost on one vote? So yes, that one vote will make a difference. But, local news, if you don't, obviously it's my livelihood, right? I've invested retirement funds into having a more informed community. So know what's going on with your common council. Know what's being built around you. Why are those homes, behind Boys and Girls Club gone? What is the club doing? Where did those go? What is happening with housing in Oshkosh? Because, we need more, right? And you can't just build single family homes for everybody because it's just not possible. Nor can everyone afford that. But also looking at this is a zone ordinance that's been on the books for Oshkosh forever, right? You have to have so many square feet and you have to have so much frontage. Well, do you really need that these days? Or, can you take a look at having more of a smaller footprint for your home and less square footage to build a home? But be involved and make your opinion heard because it matters. But if we don't know, if everyone just sits back and, my council did this to me. No, we elected them. And if you didn't vote, it's not everybody else's fault who voted. Right. You have to vote. You have to go out there and vote. And if you look at some of the numbers and you have 1,500 people going to the polls out of 56 or 67,000, you are letting 1,500 people decide what's going to happen to you. And that's, for lack of better words, that's your fault. Be one of those 1,500 and make that number grow, because the more voices that are shared about anything, the better it is. Local news, Polkle. It's on the city of Oshkosh's website, right? They'll do surveys. Now, a survey in 67,000 people, and this number might be off, but it's like we need 250 respondents. Well, if I'm in an organization and I tell everyone to go and take that poll, and we all are like-minded, is it really a look at what the entire city of Oshkosh is looking for, or is it just that segment because they took the time to take the survey? So, that is news we report, right? The city did this survey. This was the results. Guess what? This is going to be the end result because this is what the people have spoken, and this is what it is. So there are there are people out there that, may feel, what's the word I'm looking for, that because they're X and they're not contributing.
Disenfranchised?
Thank you. Thanks. That's the word I'm looking for. But those are the ones we really do need to hear from.
Oh, no, those marginalized voices is my thing.
We need to hear from them because, one, they matter, but two, let's talk, I'm really rambling, workforce, right? We need workforce. Well, if you're disenfranchised and you're not engaged in your community, are you going to go out and want to help a local business, or or move up, or any of those things. So it's just cyclical, and we need those people, and we need every group of people to go out and say what they would like to see in their community. And knowing what's happening and where those opportunities are, you find in your community news sources. So you're going to find those in the Herald. You're going to see them on the Examiner. You're going to find them on Oshkosh Media. You're going to hear about them on radio stations that cover Oshkosh. But you have to pay attention. And as we're going to election season, it's just not Oshkosh. It is the bigger picture as well. But the largest impact is going to be on what your local government is doing. So, read the newspaper. We work really, really hard on being neutral. We all have opinions, but we don't put those opinions into the newspaper because we want our readers to be able to read this, know that, okay, there's other resources out there, and make their own mind up. There's the majority of, so that's what you really need to do. And I'm not excluded out of there. If there's different items being presented, I want to know all the sides as well. One, so we can present those sides, but two, I'm a voter, right? So I still need to make my decisions up as well. And we could use the wheel tax that's going to be coming up in front of the council as an example, because this has been coming up, right? If you're a homeowner and your home is worth $100,000 and you get a $20,000 whatever those
assessment.
Thank you, assessments. That's huge. And if your home is valued at $100,000, you probably don't have $20,000 sitting there being able to pay for the road in front of your house. So I probably drive on that road. I just have never understood why the people living where the roads are getting fixed are responsible for fixing that road.
Right.
And we're not doing it collectively as a community.
Right.
So, there again, have your voice heard. And there's the whataboutism, right? So wait a minute, I've already paid my share. Well, okay, on this maybe, but going forward, you may end up having to pay it again, or you may move, or your daughter may end up being one of those that benefits from this, or your grandchild, or your parent, so let's stop thinking about just how it impacts me and how it impacts your community and your family, because I'm guessing that not every person in a person's family has already been hit with an assessment. So we have to change it going forward. And I know it's a really hard thing to do, but whataboutism, put it in the back, throw it away, and take a look and see what does the future look like. And if you're following local news and you're seeing how that's going to impact people going forward, it's a good thing to do. And it goes along with so many things, local businesses, fundraising, programs that are available. Read your local news, because that is going to keep you informed of what you should be paying attention to, not only what is happening politically and budget-wise, but also with your family, with your neighbors, and things that are impacting them. And just know, just be in the know. Sorry for rambling.
There was no ramble. That was fantastic. Sometimes you just have to let it breathe, let it out, and that covered a lot. And I follow that up by saying facts. Yes. What I want to make sure that we do is you gave really good options for places to get news or information, I want to make sure that we put some of those links into our podcast notes. So we'll have those in this episode's notes, some of those links. So we want to make sure that we connect that. Anything else? That's what I'm going to say. Anything else?
I'm going to throw this out there. So for the Oshkosh Herald, the majority, it's a free distribution, right? So we are 100% basically advertising supported. So all our readers out there who support our advertisers, thank you, because that's what keeps putting the Oshkosh Herald in your mailbox every week.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good to know too. I think sometimes we don't connect the dots. Like as we were kind of talking earlier about supporting local, and a lot of times the things that are local are the things that pay for the bowling team shirts or that softball team or that soccer team if your daughter may play on it, all of these things. And you've got to support local because often that's who you go to support you.
Well said.
And this is no different. If we're getting this paper, the paper that I like to enjoy on my sunny porch with my cup of tea, and I do see those advertisers, I should think, hey, need to support some of those so this treasure, this Kosh treasure, can continue to show up on my doorstep. And Kosh listeners, I encourage you to think the same way. Yeah, that's powerful. We don't always do a great job of connecting the dots. So I do think it's important for us to explain these things, because otherwise things just happen and you assume they just happen.
Right. Yeah. Well, and if the readers aren't showing up at the advertisers, they're going to say it's not a good investment, right? So, but it is an investment two ways. One, it helps grow their business and sustain it, but it also creates a better, more informed community.
Yes. And that
it's a win-win.
It's totally a win-win. And an informed community is too important, which I think we've nailed that on the head. And there's a lot of ways to do that. Okay. Any last words?
I think I'm good.
You think you're good?
I could go on forever, but
I love it. Okay. Fantastic. Well, it's that time of the show. It's the time of the show where we start winding down. We're getting there. We're getting there to the end. Thank you for taking the time to spend time with us and listen to us. We are a work in progress. We are always trying to get better. I hope you appreciate the time that our guests put into this and the time that's put to produce. Please continue to listen. Please let us know. Reach out to us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. And you already know I'm trying to convince you. Please call in, leave us voicemails, do your shout outs, do whatever you want. Let us know how we're doing. But leave us messages at 920-385-9298. Once again, that is 920-385-9298. And once again, I'm going to continue to say this week after week because I'm waiting. I want to be at the farmer's market buying my burrito and see somebody walk by in a The Kosh t-shirt or hat. That's going to make my summer, because once again, since farmers markets are about being local, what's more local than a t-shirt that says The Kosh?
They look good.
They do look good. They look good. So once again, feel free, reach out to us. If you are interested, they're $20 a piece. Hats, t-shirts, we got you. Just holler at us, email us, and let us know if you're interested. Okay. Now it's really that time of the show. You know what that is? It's my favorite time of the show. It is shout out time. Karen.
Right.
Karen's got shout outs. Look, Karen's about that life. I'm calling it right now. She is ready.
So, shout out to Jeff. And I want to give a shout out to my niece, Ruthie, who I haven't really seen a lot of her, and she had a really tough time. But in the last 2 years, she became a high honor student. I just learned she is moving to LA to go to UCLA. So talking about, changing your direction. So big shout out to her, because that takes a lot of work. Shout out to my friend Jennifer Skolaski. She is the
Skull Sassy.
Yeah, that's right. She is the wizard behind the curtain. We've asked to do a article on her, and she's like, no. She is the one that has helped driving so many of the initiatives in our community and doing really great work, and doesn't really get the acknowledgement of what the difference she has actually made. So huge shout out to her. Shout out to my team, because they do fabulous work week in and week out. We're a small business, and there's a lot of things that everyone does and has different roles. Shout out to you thank you for having me on, Timber. I really appreciate it. And again, we're just going to shout out to the town clerks as well, and city clerks. Be kind to them. But also a big shout out for everyone who threw their name in the hat to run for public office.
Facts.
It is a thankless job in this time and age of social media and things, and can really take a toll on people's mental health. You don't even have to be the candidate. You just have to be someone reading it and wondering what the heck's going on here. So big shout out to the people who want to make a difference in our communities, in our world, and take that on their shoulders, theirs and their families. So huge shout out there.
Yes. That's how shout outs should be done. That was good. I like it. All right. I got a few shout outs this week. Shout out to Kayla and the Boys and Girls Club in the STAR program. They just won a huge $25,000 grant. I just love their program and the work that it does, and how they are helping our youth of color. We need that. And I appreciate the hard work, the thoughtfulness, and your team. You got a boss team. So big shout out to them. Shout out to Amy Jablanca. This past weekend was my class reunion, and I didn't go. But what I did get was a really nice phone call from a former high school classmate who asked me, like, hey, you should go, and I know why you might not want to go. And, it's a thing. Like, I was really caught up in the idea of the past instead of looking at the class reunion as an opportunity to build relationships for the future. And I mentioned that because I want others, when this time comes, and I know, because my big thing was, I don't even remember these people. So
that's so true.
That was really my thing. My thing was like, I don't even remember these people. And the people that I kind of kicked it with, I very much knew that they weren't going to go and stuff like that. And yeah, so I just wasn't motivated, but I wish I would have thought about it from that different perspective. But just the fact that she reached out and cared enough to ask me and kind of try to coax me into it, that's huge. That's huge.
Mine is Friday.
Yours is Friday? Uh-oh.
40 years.
Are you going?
Oh, yeah. I'm on the committee.
Oh, okay. Mine was 30. This was my 30 year. Awesome. All right. Shout out to Dan Martin for inviting me over for the 4th. And I didn't have to barbecue. Nice job on the grill, my man, and all the other people that were in attendance. Appreciate it as always. And last shout out goes to Jack Voigt. I had the opportunity to go to breakfast every Friday in Appleton. There is a free breakfast for vets served by Vets and Friends, which is a nonprofit that Jack Voigt helps to run. And I was asked to stop in, and so me and I coaxed the mayor into stopping in, and we stopped in. And breakfast was solid, and it was a great group of people. The coffee was exactly how I would have imagined it. Very strong and military-ish, if you know what I'm hollering about. So it was just a fantastic experience overall. So big shout out to that. All right. Now we are at the end. Okay. So at the end, Karen, are you ready? You have 3 choices. The end is you can either share with us some parting words of wisdom, or you can share with us what would yourself today tell your 12-year-old self, or option C, both, all of the above. Well, what? It's a thing. Like, yeah, right? There should always be the option to do both.
Right. So I'll do both.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So my parting words of wisdom would be stop looking at social media for your news and look elsewhere and talk to your neighbors, read a newspaper, watch the news, but get off social media. And my 12-year-old self would say, way to go, girl. You took that risk and it paid off.
I like that. What'd you think
of that?
Oh, no, the experience.
This has been a great experience. it's definitely, I listened to a lot of the ones prior to this, and you have a lot of talented people on. So I came in a little intimidated. So, but you're a great host, and I appreciate it. And it was a great conversation.
Thank you.
Great
Gosh.
conversation.